So it was with the KZ casters that KZ came up with this entirely new concept of implementing tuning switches on these IEMs. So this concept was new, the idea was really fresh. The IEMs were built well, they sounded really good, and they were very affordable, just under 2000 rupees, the price at which most of the people could afford them. And now we see that this tuning switch philosophy actually becoming a part of their mainstream design. So after the caster, we have the Caster Pro, then we have the KZ VADER, then we have the KZ AS24, and also this KZ ZA12. Currently I'm actually making a review of, and while I was making the review of this ZA12, this idea came to my mind that are these tuning switches really worth it, or it is just the hype? Or maybe if the switches were there, then what could have been the right way of implementing these tuning switches? Because every now and then or every day almost, I see a lot of people coming on my channel and asking me what is the best possible combination of these tuning switches. So this is all we are going to discuss in this video. So let us begin with some little bit of concept. So here we have an audio waveform which is at present at 0 dB, and as you are going from switch 1 to switch 4, you are actually controlling your low frequencies to high frequencies. So let's say you turn on the switch 1, so it will control some of your sub bass frequencies and bass frequencies. If you are turning on the switch 2, it will further control your bass frequencies. As you further switch on turn on the switch 4, let's say, so it will control your high frequencies, and further you turn on the switch 3, so it will control your mid frequency. So that is how it works. Now first of all, the misconception: some people are of the opinion that if you're turning on all the switches, so it will give a total boost of 4 dB. This is definitely not the case. You will get only 1 dB boost in that entire waveform. Now let's talk about some of the practical implementation of these switches. So first of all, switches are something that you are not going to play around every day. I got my KZ Caster and Caster Pro, I reviewed it a couple of times and for making videos and all, and I am of the opinion that everyone who has bought these IEMs would have played with the switches maybe for a couple of days or maybe a week, and after that you would have left the switches at its default position, whatever you choose to. So that is how, like, switches is not something that you're going to play with every day. The next important thing is that how much of a difference does a 1 dB of a boost actually make in the practical life. So I'll just play two waveforms for you. One is at 0 dB and the other one is at 1 dB, and you just tell me if you can actually figure out the difference. So after hearing the waveform, I am sure that 1 dB of a boost, it's a very subtle difference, and this is the kind of a waveform I played which only caters to the bass region. Let's say you are into some song where you have all the frequencies playing together, so even if you're trying to control a particular frequency, maybe some amount of bass frequency or mid frequency, so that difference is just very subtle. And in my opinion, when we talk about an audio in nowadays, like in 2025, so all the songs, everything is like more of a softer control. So this hardware control is good. It's like a kind of a ready-made control that you can achieve with a very subtle difference, but most of the things nowadays are being controlled by a software. So I believe that apart from the switches, if you are using any sort of equalizer on your smartphone or your PC or your laptop, that is going to give you a much noticeable difference as compared to this subtle difference. Now with that all being said, there is one practical way I could think of taking advantage of these switches. So let's say you are wearing these IEMs and you are playing a game like BGMI. You are in the grass, your enemy is in the grass, and you want to pinpoint your enemy. So what you can do is that you can simply take off these IEMs and you can use the pin that came along with it, and you can flip the switch 3 and 4, let's say, for more clarity. And while you're making the flip, you are already dead in the game. So the thing is that opportunity is there, but I don't know how well you are able to take advantage of it. And let's say you don't have the pin, so you have to take you have to use these kind of tools to make the flip in the switches. See, the thing is that as now I'm making my review on the ZA12, so these ZA12 have 2 dynamic drivers inside and 4 balanced armature, so it's total 6 drivers on one side. So first of all, I wish that these switches could have been made slightly bigger so that you could easily operate it with your finger, and instead of implementing 4 tuning switches with controls 4 different sections of a waveform, there could have been a single switch which could have like 3 or 4 positions through which you can trigger your bass, mids and high. I think this approach could have been more practical, because even if you talk about your current music systems and all, so they give you this option whether to highlight your vocals, your mid frequencies or your high frequencies. So this approach could have been more practical. Also, if I talk about the IEMs like AS24, which have 4 balanced armatures on one side, so and those IEMs have like 2 different set of tuning switches. One is the main set and the other one is the auxiliary set. So I think there could have been an option where just by turning on and off a switch, you could completely turn off a particular driver. I think this was kind of a way through which users can easily spot the difference. So anyway, this was my take on the tuning switches, and I believe that after watching this video, some of the KZ Caster proud owners would get offended. So I tried to verify my thoughts with AI. So I gave a prompt on the DeepSeek, and I just felt that, I mean, you can easily read it out yourself, that AI also thinks in the same way, that the switches are not that practical. It's not going to bring you a much day and night of a difference. The difference is very subtle, and this is not something that you will play around with every day. So anyway, this was all about it. Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe to me for watching my review on the Z812, and that's all. Thank you so much.